Okay, the next one, we're going to look at spacing between characters. With proportional print, sometimes characters wind up being too close to each other, and it looks very minor, but in desktop publishing, it can be very important. And there are ways to fix this. Tracking and kerning are two of those ways. So be sure you've read and studied these before you begin the tutorial. And you'll look at these again in the discussion this week. So we're going to start with clicking on our publication and clicking between the T and the R. And we want to turn on our measurements. There are several ways to do this. One of them is to click on the measurements on your screen and it will pop up the floating panel. So kerning, and that's what we're looking at right now, is the last item here. And they want this to be 2 point. And I'm going to click out of that by just clicking in a different cell. And it did make a space there, although it seemed very small change, but it did make a space there. You may want to zoom in before you're working on this so you can see it a little better. The next one we'll do is the R and the O. And again, we're going to look at the kerning, the space between them, and we're going to do a -2. Now, when I do that, notice when I click out of it, I can actually see them get closer together. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is tracking. So we're going to scroll to the bottom of this letterhead, and there's a text box down here. I've clicked inside it. I'm going to do Control A to select all the text inside it, including the characters after, the paragraph character and any other characters after. And then we're going to click on the character spacing tool, and we're going to do loose. And notice it spreads it apart from each other in tracking. Okay, next we're going to look at the character spacing dialog box. First, you may want to show your whole page, and there is a tool to do that down in the bottom right. You can click on that and it will quickly take you to the whole page. So we're going to draw a text box. So we're going to insert and draw a text box. Well, we won't worry about what size because we'll change that later. And then they want you to change to size 12 font. Okay, next we want to go to the paragraph settings dialog box. So we're on the Home tab in the paragraph groups, and we open the paragraph dialog box. And we want indents and spacing, which is already selected. And this is very similar to what you see in Microsoft 0. One of the biggest differences I see is, of course, there's between lines instead of line spacing there, and then 0 point is right next to each other. And click OK. Use the measurement task pane, which mine isn't on, so I'm going to click it to turn it on and move it over here where it's supposed to be. And I need the horizontal position of the text box that we typed, and that would be this. So I need that to be 1. I need the vertical to be 2. I need the width to be 6.5. I need the height to be 7.25. Those are the first four things in the measurement task pane. And then I can close that. And you notice how my text box resized as I did that. There's a lot of information you need to read in the textbook about setting tabs, but they are very similar to Microsoft Office. So its default is a left tab, and you can see that there. They want us to set a 3.25. I'm going to maximize that so we can see it better. And so you just click on, and I'm going to resize this so we can see it a little better too. So that's 3.5. And so halfway between 3 and 3.5 is 3.25. And it does have a little bit larger line there. So we click on the bottom of that. To set a tab there. You can always flick it off if it's not the tab you wanted, or you can also drag it if you didn't get it exactly where you thought it should be. You can click on it and drag it from left to right. Okay, then tab over to 3.5 or 3.25 and insert the date. And they want it with the month spelled out, and they want it update automatically, and click OK. Enter twice, and we will stop there. You want to save it again as Rocket Road Letter, same file name that you will submit eventually.